time by Kyrie Chris is 6 p.m. Time for CBX Business News. The business news headlines is brought to you by CBX Wealth Management, making more possible.
Tourism cash flows in. Remittances face a hit and the Fed shows division. Good evening and welcome to CBX Business News for Tuesday, December 30, 2025. I'm Rochelle Moncrief. Thanks for joining us. Coming up in the newscast locally, host Melissa Tourism delivers over $330 million to Jamaica's economy, providing a critical boost as recovery efforts continue. On the regional front, a new U.S. tax is set to clip remittance flows to the Caribbean, raising concerns about household income and regional foreign exchange inflows. And over on the global stage, Fed minutes reveal deep divisions inside the central bank that led to December's interest rate cut. Stay tuned as we unpack these stories and more right after the break.
Wealth is not simply counted in dollars or cents, but in the time we spend with love, in love, giving love. Wealth is not simply a means to an end. It is the means to live out loud. Wealth is more than money. It's about family, the memories you create, the legacy you leave behind, and your ability to enjoy life in the moment. It's also about seeing the QMAX possibilities and seizing investment opportunities to achieve the future you want and deserve. Which is why QMAX Wealth will focus on your investments so you can experience more. Because true wealth is truly more. To start investing today, call 876-926-7767.
We get it! We get the big contract! 50,000 units a month for 3 years! Great! Who need help?
If you are a business owner that requires capital for the expansion of your business, talk to a registered broker today to find out more about listing your company on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, an efficient alternative to other financing options.
Thank God for the Jamaica Stock Exchange Junior Market.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange, providing a fair, efficient, and transparent stock market.
The local news is brought to you by Diamond Trading. Better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments.
Welcome back to CBX Business News. We begin with Jamaica's tourism sector emerging as a major economic anchor after Hurricane Melissa. Jamaica's tourism industry is proving to be the country's fastest moving economic stabilizer following Hurricane Melissa, generating more than US $331 million in earnings and welcoming 370,000 visitors since the storm. The strong inflows signal that Jamaica has successfully restarted its winter tourism season, a critical period for foreign exchange earnings, employment, and fiscal stability. Of the total arrivals, approximately 46,000 were stopover visitors, typically the highest spending segment, while about 30,000 arrived via cruise ships, reinforcing the island's dual strength in airlift and cruise tourism. The mix highlights Jamaica's ability to capture both long-stay and high-volume visitor traffic across major ports, including Montego Bay, Ocho Rios, and Falmouth. Tourism officials say the numbers translate directly into economic activity across hotels, transportation, attractions, restaurants, and small businesses, many of which were severely disrupted by the hurricane. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett stressed that recovery is being measured not only by visitor counts, but by economic impact and job continuity. He noted that each arriving visitor supports livelihoods across the value chain, from hotel workers to tour operators, taxi drivers, and vendors. The sector's rebound is also being supported by continued private sector investment and stakeholder confidence. Jamaica's fisheries sector is set to receive a major financial lifeline as the government redirects US $2 million previously held in escrow for offshore oil exploration to support fishers hit by Hurricane Melissa. Energy Minister Daryl Vaz announced that the funds, originally tied to exploration activities by United Oil and Gas, will now be deployed to repair fishing beaches, replace damaged boats and engines, and provide equipment and vouchers to fishing communities along the south coast.
Under the oil exploration, which there is a company that is currently doing the exploration research, United Oil and Gas. There was a provision in there for $2 million that is in escrow, which is to be used while you are doing the exploration to help fisheries and the beaches and all that goes with it. The money has been sitting down there for many years because we haven't found the oil yet, but hopefully we'll soon find it. And I went to Minister Green and I said, I have this $2 million. Let it not sit down there in escrow, earning little interest when we have the fishers that have been so badly damaged.
He confirmed that the financing will target heavily affected communities, including in St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland, where fishing activity is a core source of income and food security.
He has provided with me a program for fishing beaches, for engines, for boats, for vouchers, all sorts of things. And we will be going to finalize that process in January so that I can hand over that $2 million that's 320 million Jamaican dollars that will be specifically dedicated to the fishers that have been damaged during Melissa. Parity, Black River, Galleon, Treasure Beach, to mention those in St. Elizabeth, White House and others in Westmoreland. And the program has been presented to me, and it is just for me to finalize the paperwork. And that will be done in collaboration between my ministry and Minister Green's ministry.
That was Energy Minister Daryl Vaz. As Jamaica navigates recovery from a bruising year, the private sector organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, is framing 2026 as a decisive reset, not just for leadership, but for how the private sector drives national rebuilding. Speaking on the organization's relief and reconstruction efforts with CBX News, PSOJ Executive Director Sasha Vassiana Riley says the focus has already shifted from emergency response to long-term nation building, with businesses expected to play a central role.
At the PSOJ, we have started our relief efforts, we've started, the rebuilding efforts, but really 2026 is an opportunity for us to look forward to a renewal of our nation, that nation building that Don Webby would have started in terms of his own sphere at GK and, in various communities. It is for us as a wider private sector now to take that on and see how we can rebuild Jamaica.
With new leadership set to take office in 2026, the PSOJ is signaling a fresh strategic direction anchored in resilience.
In 2026, we go into new leadership. Our current president will demit office, and so we will have a fresh insight, fresh talent, which will come to the leadership of the PSOJ, and we will have at the forefront how we can build a more resilient Jamaica. We can rebuild Jamaica with heart. We can rebuild Jamaica based on people. We can rebuild Jamaica based on our love for the nation.
That was PSOJ Executive Director Sasha Vassiana Riley. In other news, Cargo Handlers Limited is closing its 2025 financial year with a decisive show of strength, posting higher profits, fatter cash balances, and a powerful earnings lift driven by its strategic stake in Buying House Cement Limited. For the year ended September 30, Cargo Handlers reported net profit of Jamaican $323.9 million, up from $273.7 million the previous year, as revenue edged higher and investment income surged. Earnings per stock unit climbed to 86 cents, reinforcing the company's standing on the junior market of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. The real muscle came from the company's 30% stake in Buying House Cement Limited, which delivered a Jamaican $156.9 million share of profit, nearly double the prior year's contribution. That associate alone now represents more than a third of Cargo Handlers' total assets, underscoring how critical the cement and construction supply chain has become to the company's growth story. We go now to updates from the Bank of Jamaica on how the currency markets traded today. In Tuesday's currency trading session, the US dollar is selling for $159.84, the Canadian for $116.33, the pound sterling for $214.10, and the going rate for the euro is $186.61. We move to the latest updates from the JSE equities. In Tuesday's trading session, the JSE market activity resulted in the trading of 110 stocks, of which 48 advanced, 45 declined, and 17 traded firm. Leading today's winners are West Indies Petroleum Terminal, Kintyre Holdings JA, Margaritaville Turks USD, and Epley Caribbean Property Fund SCC. While leading the losers are Jamaica Public Service Company Limited 7%, Caribbean Assurance Brokers, Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances, and Sagicor Real Estate X Fund. Trading activity resulted in the following movements of the JSE indices. The main index declined by 234.40 points, or 0.07%, to close at 315,799.99 points. The junior market index advanced by 20.33 points, or 0.60%, to close at 3,389.32 points.
And it's time for Market Education Feature, brought to you by CariChris, Regional Ratings, Global Standard.
In today's Market Education Feature, we'll explore the definition of spyware. Spyware is broadly defined as software designed to infiltrate your device, collect information about you, and transmit it to a third party without your consent. While the term can also describe legitimate programs that track user data for commercial purposes, such as advertising, malicious spyware specifically aims to profit from stolen information. Whether legitimate or fraudulent, spyware monitoring can expose you to data breaches and misuse of personal information. It can also degrade device and network performance, slowing down everyday tasks. By understanding how spyware operates, you can better protect both personal and enterprise systems.
The market education feature was brought to you by CARICRIS, Regional Ratings, Global Standards.
And that's it for the local news segment. Please stay with us. The regional news is up next.
The local news is brought to you by Derriman Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances, tease the senses. And Pulse Investments.
I'm trading stocks to achieve my financial goals.
I'm also trading stocks to achieve my financial goals.
Start a conversation with the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Check jamstockx.com for information and a list of registered stockbrokers. You can also call the Jamaica Stock Exchange at 876-967-3271 for information on how to begin. I am achieving my financial goals.
I'm achieving my financial goals.
Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances. It started out as a small family-owned business, and now we're a part of a large group of companies. Being listed on the stock exchange allows us a certain prestige. It also speaks to accountability and transparency. We had some fears about getting our information in the public domain, but once we contacted the Jamaica Stock Exchange, who have the knowledge and the experience to guide us, we were comfortable with getting into the process. If you have any doubts about being listed, just give the Jamaica Stock Exchange a call. They'll be very happy to take you through the process and also provide you with information that you may need. Make that call now.
Welcome back. And now for the regional business news. A new 1% U.S. federal tax on certain international money transfers set to take effect on January 1, 2026 is expected to reduce the funds Caribbean families receive from relatives abroad, tightening pressure on a critical source of household income across the region. The tax, derived from Section 139, Statute 217, Parts A and B of the One Big Beautiful Bill signed into law by U.S. President Donald Trump on July 4, 2025, applies only to transfers funded with cash, money orders, or cashier's checks. That distinction means families relying on traditional cash-based remittance services could receive smaller amounts for everyday expenses, including food, utilities, school costs, and transportation. Transfers made through bank accounts, debit or credit cards, and most digital platforms are exempt, a gap that analysts say is likely to push diaspora senders towards app-based services to avoid the levy. While the tax is expected to reshape remittance behavior, economists warn it could hit low-income households hardest, particularly those still dependent on cash transfers from U.S.-based relatives. CARICOM is accelerating efforts to cut the region's food import bill, shifting resources towards high-value, high-yield crops that can replace some of the Caribbean's most heavily imported foods. Program Manager in the Department of Agricultural and Agro-Industrial Development, Sean Baugh, says the Greenhouse Upgrade Initiative marks a decisive shift from policy design to real execution under the 25 by 25 agenda. The focus is on specialty crops, non-traditional vegetables, and fruits that the region imports in large volumes, positioning climate-smart greenhouses as a direct tool for import substitution.
We're looking to reduce the region's food import bill. So we're putting our money where our mouth is and we're walking the talk. We're getting it moving. So all the crops that will be targeted, it won't be the traditional crop that we already have enough of. It's the niche crops, it's the new crops that are imported a lot that we want to put inside there. So that's the specialty vegetables, the specialty fruits, berries, so on and so forth that we do import a lot of. We consume a lot of, whether it's in tourism, whether it's in national domestic use. That is what we're targeting, because not only we see them being important in reducing our food bill, but they're high value crops. So there might be low volumes, but they're high value. And the beauty about the technology that we're using, it can be produced year round.
That was Program Manager for the Department of Agricultural and Agro-Industrial Development within the CARICOM Secretariat, Sean Baugh. Newly sworn-in Minister of Tourism and Commerce, Dr. Ernest Hilaire, says 2026 is shaping up to be a breakout year for St. Lucia's tourism sector, with visitor arrivals projected to be as much as double those recorded in 2025. With more than 36,000 stay-over arrivals logged this year, Dr. Hilaire says the anticipated surge would significantly lift economic activity, driving gains across hotels, transportation, retail, and other tourism-linked services.
As your new Minister of Commerce, I intend to work even more closely with each of you to bring greater prosperity and success to our St. Lucia. The year 2026 is already shaping up to be even better for tourism. Based on our data, November 2025 was recorded as the best November on record, with over 36,000 stay-over arrivals, representing a 7% increase compared to November 2024, in just 1 week in December.
That was Minister of Tourism and Commerce for St. Lucia, Dr. Ernest Hilaire. It's now time for news from the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 20 securities, of which 1 advanced, 7 declined, and 12 traded firm. Today's winner is Massey Holdings, while leading the losers are JMMB Group, Republic Financial Holdings, the West Indian Tobacco Company, and First Citizens Group Financial Holdings. Trading activity resulted in the following movements of the TTSE indices. The All-TNT Index declined by 6.49 points or 0.47% to close at 1,367.22. The Composite Index declined by 4.34 points or 0.46% to close at 944.55. The Cross-Listed Index declined by 0.29 points or 0.42% to close at 68.88. The SME Index remained at 94.06. And we take a short break, but please do stay with us. The international news segment is up next.
So much book you need for high school?
I'll show you how to make sure you have all the money for my books and even some extra. It's called budgeting, Dad. Making a budget is the most important thing you can do to track your money. It keeps a record of how much you make, how much you spend, where you spend it, and most importantly, how much you can save. Write down all your income, write down all your expenses, see where you can cut down and allot more money to more important things, like saving.
Welcome back. In international news, minutes from the Fed's December 9 and 10 meeting reveal a sharp disagreement over inflation risk and the need to support the labor market. The committee voted 9-3 to cut rates by a quarter point, lowering the policy rate to 3.5 to 3.75%, the most dissenting votes since 2019. Several officials say the decision was finely balanced, with some indicating they could have supported keeping rates unchanged. While most policymakers believe further cuts may be appropriate if inflation eases, others warned against moving too quickly, arguing rates should remain steady for some time. Markets reacted cautiously, with stocks slightly lower, while traders increased bets on a possible April rate cut. And while policymakers weigh their next move, commodity markets are already sending powerful signals. Silver prices are swinging wildly after a historic rally and sudden reversal. Silver futures jumped more than 7% early Tuesday, pushing prices above $75 an ounce and lifting year-to-date gains beyond 150%. The surge followed a brief spike to $80 an ounce, a record high, before prices collapsed, posting the largest one-day drop since February 2021. Analysts point to geopolitical tensions, inflation hedging, and supply concerns as key drivers. Tesla CEO Elon Musk also warned that China's upcoming silver export restrictions could disrupt industrial supply chains. Silver is critical for solar panels, electric vehicles, electronics, and data centers. From raw materials to digital infrastructure, the next story highlights a major move in energy technology. British renewable firm Octopus Energy is preparing to spin out its AI unit Kraken Technologies after a $1 billion funding round valued the business at $8.65 billion. The transaction clears the way for a separation by mid-2026, widely seen as positioning Kraken for a future public listing. Kraken supplies AI-driven software to major utilities including EDF and E.ON, and its contracted revenue has more than doubled in 18 months. Following the spin-out, Octopus will retain a 13.7% stake, while Origin Energy will hold 22.7%. And finally, to a massive bet on artificial intelligence, where Japan's SoftBank has just completed one of the largest private technology investments ever recorded. SoftBank Group has fully funded its previously announced $40 billion investment in OpenAI, completing one of the largest private technology funding rounds on record. According to CNBC, the Japanese conglomerate recently transferred the final tranche between $22 and $22.5 billion following earlier funding and syndicated co-investments. The deal values OpenAI at roughly $300 billion post-money, cementing the ChatGPT maker's position as one of the world's most valuable private companies. The investment underscores SoftBank's aggressive push to sit at the center of the global artificial intelligence boom, spanning computing power, AI infrastructure, and next-generation digital platforms. For markets, the transaction signals growing confidence that AI is no longer speculative tech, but core economic infrastructure shaping global investment flows. And that's it for the international segment of the newscast. The news recap is coming up on the other side of the break.
Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances Limited has been a part of Jamaica's manufacturing landscape for over 20 years. By crafting unique flavors and fragrances, we have become a part of your favorite household and food items such as beverages, ice cream, household cleaners, and much more. Known throughout the Caribbean for the highest quality, we continue to innovate with strong leadership, a dedicated team with integrity. We go the extra mile for our customers. Create the next taste sensation. Contact us at 876-9235-111 or visit our website, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn pages.
Introducing the Corporate Services Unit, your go-to experts for corporate secretarial solutions. We offer statutory compliance, efficient minute taking, registered office address services, management of board and members meetings, setup and maintenance of corporate registers. Stay ahead with our proactive approach to new regulations. We operate under the Trust and Corporate Service Provider, licensed to the JCSD Trustee Services Limited. We're here to simplify your corporate journey, no matter the size of your company. Contact the Corporate Service Unit today and let's streamline your compliance journey together, because your success is our business.
And now to recap our top stories. In the local news, Post Melissa Tourism delivers US $331 million to Jamaica's economy. Regionally, new US tax is set to clip remittances flowing to the Caribbean. And internationally, Fed minutes show deep division behind December rate cut. Those were the stories making today's CBX Evening News. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Rachelle Moncrief. Thanks for watching CBX, your region, your business, your source.